Good morning once again. We'll be taking the second part of the lasers in dermatology. So in this we'll be discussing various principles of lasers in dermatology. Now coming to the skin optics, there are four possible interaction of the laser. One is reflection, absorption, scattering and transmission. Only 4% to 7% of the light is reflected by the skin. Rest is either scattered, absorbed or transmitted. So this is the diagram showing various optics when the laser strikes the skin. Either it is reflected, so the reflection may be diffuse, or there may be scattering, then it is absorbed or transmitted. So laser principles. So depth of penetration of laser energy into the skin is dependent upon the absorption and scattering. And scattering is inversely proportional to the wavelength. That is, more the scattering, less is the, if the proportional to the wavelength. If wavelength is less, more scattering is there. And if wavelength is long one, the scattering is less and the penetration into the skin is much more. Now another principle is depth of the penetration increases with the wavelength until the mid-infrared region. That is, as the wavelength increases, the penetration of the laser light into the skin also increases till the mid-infrared region. Now wavelength in the mid to upper infrared region penetrates superficially as a result of high absorption by the tissue water. So in cases we see that in cases of Erbium-Yagh laser and carbon dioxide laser, where the wavelength is high, the penetration is low because of the water absorption. Now this is the schematic description or representation of the laser depth of penetration. So in case of excimer laser, as the wavelength is low, we see that penetration is also low. But then again in cases of Erbium-Yagh laser and carbon dioxide laser, we see that the penetration again is low, but the wavelengths are high because of the water absorption. Then in case from argon laser to the ND-Yagh laser, as the wavelength increases, the penetration of the laser light into the skin also increases. Another important factor is the spot size and the depth of the penetration. We see that as the spot size increases, the depth of penetration also increases to some extent. So if the lasing area is larger, we can use a larger spot size for better penetration and ease of treatment, and the time period of treatment can also be reduced. The cutaneous target or the chromophores, that is the targets where the laser light is absorbed. So these are of two kinds. One is endogenous, other is the exogenous part. So in endogenous, the main targets are intracellular water that is present in the epidermis, dermis also, then melanin, which is usually present in the melanocytes, then hemoglobin usually present in the vessels. Then the exogenous target is the tattooing. So tattoo removal is one of the common indications of lasers in dermatology. Now coming to the theory of selective photothermolysis put forward by Anderson and Parrish. So this theory revolutionized the concept of lasers in dermatology or medicine. So it describes how controlled destruction of the laser lesion is possible without significant thermal damage to the surrounding normal tissue. To achieve selective photothermolysis, a proper wavelength that is absorbed preferentially by the intended tissue target is selected. So this is the laser basics showing various absorption and wavelength for various lasers used in aesthetic treatment. So visible light lasers are strongly absorbed by the blood, that is hemoglobin, and pigment melanin, in contrast to infrared lasers which are strongly absorbed by the water. Now coming to the tissue interaction. So once the laser light is irradiated on the skin, there are three possible interactions which can occur. One is photothermal effect, other is photomechanical effect, and third one is photochemical effect, that is also in case of photodynamic therapy. Most aesthetic laser tissue effects come from the heating of the specific target tissue when the light from the laser is selectively absorbed into the target. Dark material absorbs more light and therefore generate more heat from the light material. Heat causes tissue death. As in case of laser hair removal, it causes the destruction of the hair, or inflammation as in case of skin rejuvenation at the lower level. This we already discussed. That is photothermal effect, photomechanical effect and the photochemical effect. Now various laser modes versus application. So there are few laser modes that are possible with each laser. One is continuous wave laser, long pulse laser, short pulse laser and the Q switch laser. And along with these modes, the application also differs. That we'll discuss later in the third part in clinical application of lasers in dermatology. So coming to the continuous wave laser emits a constant beam of light with long exposure duration that can result in non-selective tissue injury. Other is quasi-continuous wave lasers. So it has a shutter that shutters the CV beam into short segments, producing interrupted emission of constant laser energy. The third one is pulsed laser system. So emits high energy laser light into ultra short pulses duration with relatively long intervening time from 0.1 to 1 second between each pulses. So it can be long pulsed, that is 450 microsecond to 40 millisecond as in case of pulsed dye laser, and ultra short from 5 to 100 nanoseconds as in case of Q switch lasers. It can be either ruby, alexandrite or Nd:YAG laser. And recently we have got the picosecond lasers and femtosecond lasers are in development. So this shows how a laser light is absorbed by the chromophore and it leads to the heating of chromophore. And in continuous laser or the long pulse laser, if the heating is continued, the heat diffusion may destroy the surrounding tissue as well. Another important concept is thermal relaxation time. To limit the amount of thermal energy deposited within the skin, the exposure duration of the tissue to light, that is the pulse duration, must be shorter than the chromophore's thermal relaxation time, defined as the time required for the target site to cool to half of its peak temperature immediately after laser absorption. So this is an important principle which limits the laser energy to the chromophore and destroys the chromophore. Then another principle is Grotthuss-Draper law. Light must be absorbed by the tissue for a clinical effect to take place, whereas transmitted or reflected light has no effect. Then fluence or energy density. So energy absorbed is measured in joules per square centimeter and is known as energy density or fluence. The energy density of fluence delivered by the laser must be sufficient to achieve destruction of the target within the allotted time, that is the pulse duration. Therefore, on the basis of these principal laser parameters, so three important parameters have to be decided in each and every case. One is wavelength, which wavelength to use. This depends on the chromophore. Second is pulse duration, how long a pulse we should use to destroy the target without affecting the surrounding tissue. And third is the fluence. So it can be tailored for a specific cutaneous application to affect maximum target destruction with minimal collateral thermal damage. So what are the laser parameters? So as we already discussed, three important parameters are there. Wavelength must be absorbed by the melanin, hemoglobin or water or ink. Second is energy. It should be sufficient to hit the structure to destroy the structure without destroying the surrounding tissue. And third one is the pulse duration, that is the time needed to deliver the required energy. It should be less than the thermal relaxation time of the target. Other three parameters, one is spot size. As we already discussed, that as the spot size increases, the penetration increases a bit. Other factor is cooling. Cooling is important to decrease the pain, and with decrease of pain we can increase the fluence. So this part plays a role, first of all, in avoiding damage to the epidermis, and secondly as an anesthetist. And sixth one is frequency, that is the repetition rate. So flexibility allows the ability to treat a variety of skin types according to these parameters. So important ones are wavelength, energy and pulse duration. Other three important factors are spot size, cooling and the frequency. Now coming to the important aspect of laser, that is the laser safety as it relates to the laser tissue interaction. So adverse tissue effect can occur when the heat is not confined to the target tissue, but is either absorbed by or conducts into the skin components. So burns and blisters created in the laser hair removal when the melanin in the darker skin type absorbs the laser light as much or more than the hair follicle. So there are four classic laser side effects that can occur in any of the lasers. The most common is hyperpigmentation, which is specific to the Indian skin, hyperpigmentation, infection and the scarring. Now hazards, lasers are classified into four broad spectrum: class 1, 2, 3 and 4. So no known biological hazard as in case of class 1. Class 2, if chronic viewing hazard only is there. In class 3, direct viewing hazard is there. And class 4, so most of the laser that we use in dermatology is of class 4. It may cause direct both the direct and reflected light can cause hazard to the body, to the skin, to the eyes. So laser accident summary, usually we see that 70% of the cases of laser complication as such is from the eye injury. So other complications are skin injury in 11% of cases, electrical malfunction and fire is another important which should be taken care of in any laser setup. So we see that eye injury covers more than 0.5% of the cases, half of the cases. So eye safety is the most important aspect in laser surgery. Lasers can cause eye injury from direct or scattered light from the beam. So retinal injury may be caused by those wavelengths that pass through the fluid into the eye interior, which may destroy the retina. These include the diode laser, pulse dye laser and the Nd:YAG laser, among other lasers. So these are the common lasers which, if passes into skin, causes retinal injury or ultimately may lead to blindness. Now corneal surface injury may be caused by those wavelengths that do not pass through the fluid and are instead absorbed at the surface of the eye. So these include carbon dioxide laser, though most of the ablative lasers, that is carbon dioxide laser and erbium-YAG laser, can cause injury to the cornea. So, but the power density must be sufficient to cause a burn. So glasses provide sufficient protection to allow you to safely treat patient by filtering out the light reflected back from the patient's skin. So goggles are one of the most important apparatus that should be available when we are doing any laser surgery, as the most important complication is the eye complication. So laser glasses are not guaranteed to provide protection against direct impact into the eye. So never point the laser output into one size. This is only for avoiding the scattered light. So that's all in the second part. So we'll discuss clinical aspect of lasers in dermatology in the third part. So thank you so much.